Welcome into your week 3 panic meter, where we're going to look at 10 players who have been letting us down in fantasy football. We're going to look at how they've been doing, their upcoming schedule, maybe even the fantasy football playoffs, and decide how panicked should we be. Do we need to sell low right now? Should we try to trade for them? And can you put them in your starting lineup? As we get into our first player, Ashton Jeanty, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Be one of the OGs here at 1,000 subscribers. We're going to be dedicating to this channel and making it better every day. So now let's talk Ashton Jeanty, who has me majorly panicked. We go to his game log here, and I will note New England, good run defense. The Chargers, good run defense. The Commanders have a good run defense as well. But looking at his whole schedule, he faces the Chiefs, he faces the Jaguars, he faces Denver, Cleveland, Chargers, Denver, Philadelphia. That is a brutal schedule. So for me, I'm probably going to hold Ashton Jeanty till he has that first big week, then try to trade him away. I am majorly panicked, and it's not because of his talent, guys. I'm not hating on Ashton Jeanty here. I think he's a great player, but the Raiders O-line was a major problem. And that's what happens. You draft an amazing running back, but if you can't get anywhere before contact, that's a huge issue. We go over to his carries here. We look at his snaps played last game, only 55%. Absolutely unfortunate. His route rate, not so good either. His rush share, only 57%. So we're going to see that bounce back. And if he looks good this week against the Commanders, maybe we keep him, but I'm not trading him away unless you can get something good, at least until he has that first big week. Player 2 is Brian Thomas Jr. In this one, I'm going to put my panic at a 2 out of 10. We scroll over in the Walter Picks game logs. You can get the Walter Picks app in the profile. Free trial, by the way, with code NOBS. You can see his snaps are amazing. His route rate could be a little bit better. 90% is really the elite level that we really want to look for, but not bad in the mid-80s. But the targets, 7 targets in week 1, 12 targets in week 2. When you're getting 12 targets and you're only scoring 8.9 fantasy points, that's a trade for target. So my panic level is low. When you're getting 12 targets, I'm not worried about it. And this makes him a great trade for target if you can get him in your league. Woo, player 3 hit the panic alarm. This is not good from Omarion Hampton. This is a player that I'm 100% benching. I will 100% try to trade away after his first big game, not only because the stats haven't been there, he hasn't looked good in the eye test as well. We look at the yards per carry, only 3.1 yards per carry. And remember, this Chargers offensive line, they face some tough teams. The Chiefs and the Raiders, they face Denver this week. Thankfully, week 4, that's going to be your opportunity to trade him away after they face the Giants. But the thing here is the Chargers offense has great receivers. They have, Lad McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson, who's been looking great this year as well. And when you're so focused on the wide receivers and the running backs still can't run, that's a big issue. One of the other things I want to look at here, again, in the Walter Picks app is the snaps. Only 62% of snaps against the Raiders in a very manageable game. This is bad news. This is bad news across the board. The route rate is just not there either. He's not getting targets. The rush share, only 30%, because Justin Herbert is rushing as well. So that's counting. Those are not designed runs. So that is hurting his rush share, but still only 30%, 8 carries in a game they won pretty handedly. I'm pretty worried about Omarion Hampton. So for me, what I'm going to be trying to do is trading him away after his first big week. So I'm going to bench him. I'm going to bench him until he faces the Giants. Maybe you can even start him against the Giants, put him in your lineup. Then after that first big week, I'm panicking hard on this one, and I'm going to sell him after he faces the Giants. Let's take a chill pill. We're back to number 4, Trevian Henderson, and I'm not panicked. I'm not worried at all after week 2. I'll put the panic at a 2 out of 10. Obviously, you want to see him doing better early on in the season, but he hasn't been that bad. We go to the game log here. Remember, week 1 was a pretty close contest, and he had 6 receptions. That's amazing. Any running back, that's amazing. Love to see that. We also look at his targets week 1, 6 targets. That was a lot closer game. Miami defense is terrible. And against Miami, they got an early lead. It was 12-0 in this game. And they had a lot of Ramondre Stevenson. They went with a veteran here. Trevian Henderson still had a couple targets, couple catches. I don't think you can start him. Now, week 3 against the Steelers, that's a good matchup. Steelers have been bad against the run, bad against Breece Hall and Justin Fields week 1, bad against Kenneth Walker in week 2. So I do think Ramondre could be a start this week. But as we move through the season, especially as we move further on, look at this schedule. This is an elite schedule. Love this fantasy football playoff against Buffalo. They're going to need him. Baltimore, they're going to need him. The Jets, they're going to need him, especially in the receiving game. Those are games, especially against Buffalo, Baltimore. They're probably going to get down in those games and need to pass a lot more. That's when he's going to be probably a fantasy football starter. Right now, he's a rookie. He's learning the playbook. He's still the best player in this backfield. So if you have Trevian Henderson, do not trade him away. If you can trade for him, kind of a 2-for-1, I like to try to trade for him now while he's not being super productive, because I do think he's going to be a great fantasy football asset later on in the season. Okay, now we're back to the mid-range. This player is Chase Brown, who really, he was okay week 1 thanks to the touchdown, but week 2, only 8.5 points against the Jaguars, who have been pretty good, and now Joe Burrow is hurt. So I'm going to put the panic at a 5 out of 10. Now, this is still a player I'm trying to trade for, because one of the things I think can improve a lot with Jake Browning is the targets, is the receptions. Because if Jake Browning is struggling, they are going to be trying to get the ball to Jamar Chase. They will try to get T. Higgins the ball, but the easiest target on the field is Chase Brown. And then I also want to scroll over to his participation numbers. His snap participation numbers are incredible. You also look at his routes. They're not bad, because those receptions will come with this good route percentage. And then the rush attempts, look at his rush share in the 90th percentile, first in the league. So I'm not worried here. We have a lot of volume on an offense that's still going to score some good points. So Chase Brown, I have a 5 out of 10, because I would definitely prefer Joe Burrow to be the quarterback. It's going to help this offense score more points, but I still think he's a great trade for target while his managers are panicked. Now we're back to a kind of a scary one, Ladd McConkey, but honestly, I'm not too worried. You look at his points per game, 13.4 week 1. That's solid. That's not bad, especially when he doesn't score a touchdown. Week 2, 9.8, almost 10 fantasy points. Again, not terrible if you don't score a touchdown. 5 catches for 50 yards. It's going to happen. He's going to get back into action. The main concern here is the injury. He did not practice this Wednesday due to a bicep injury. But honestly, I'm not majorly worried about it. Again, if he had some of that injury in the last game, that could explain why he had the lower target share. So this is another player where my panic meter, maybe a 4 out of 10 as a second-round player. You got to be slightly panicked when he's not doing as good as he should be. But I still think he's a good trade for target, because some people, they're full out panicking. They are an 8 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, and that means you can get Ladd McConkey at a deal, especially with Quentin Johnston playing great, Keenan Allen playing great. Maybe wait till after this week, after they play Denver, especially with this injury. But you're going to have some major opportunities to buy Ladd McConkey, and do it before it's too late. Because again, this offense has looked amazing in the past game. Another great one here, he's been disappointing people like crazy, is Terry McLaurin. I'm going to jump right to the game log. And you see week 1 against the Giants, 4.7 points. Week 2, 9.8 points. So where do I put him on the panic meter? I'm not worried. This is another trade for target. I actually think you can start him this week as well against the Raiders, who do have a pretty bad pass defense. You see 30th in the league about allowing points to wide receivers. Jaden Daniels also dealing with a bit of an injury, so he may run a little bit less. I'm going to scroll over here, and this is why I'm not worried. Right here, you see his snaps looking great. His snap percentage looking amazing this week. A big jump up from week 1 as well. So love that. Remember, he kind of sat out a lot of the preseason. He needs to build up that connection again. That could be another reason he's not doing as well. That's going to grow. And then you see the targets grew as well. 4 targets week 1, 9 targets week 2. This is exactly why I want to trade for Terry before this week. This is the week where he's going to pop off. This is the week where you're probably not going to be able to trade for him again. So right now, I'm not selling the farm. I'm not saying buy high. Try to buy low on Terry McLaurin. Maybe a Emeka Egbuka, who's only getting 6 targets a game, could be a good trade piece for Terry McLaurin, who saw 9 targets last week. He should continue to grow, especially as he gets back into this offense. Again, that him sitting out in the preseason cannot be overstated. That's a big deal. And you can see that happen week 1 with the snap percentage. Week 2, it went up a lot. Now's the time to buy Terry McLaurin. In the panic meter, maybe a 1 or 2 out of 10. But sound the alarm. And guys, make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already, as we talk about A.J. Brown. So far, he's been pretty dang terrible. Now, one reason not to panic too much, again, a lot like Terry McLaurin, he did see the targets go up quite a bit, from 1 to 8. And you got to remember, A.J. Brown had an injury almost the whole last month of the preseason, and it looks like he's doing a little bit better. The route percentage rate is great. The snap percentage rate is amazing as well. Love to see him getting more involved. The problem is this team just does not pass the ball. We go to the team tab here, 32nd in the pass attempts per game. Absolutely dreadful. That's just not enough pass attempts per game, especially with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, who's tough to start as well. You got Dallas Goedert, you got Saquon Barkley, and you got a couple other receivers, honestly, grabbing some of these targets here. So I am worried about A.J. Brown. My panic meter is an 8 out of 10. And one thing we're just going to roll back real quick in the Walter Picks app, we're going to have to do it on both tabs. Go to 2024. You'll see that A.J. Brown, he had some great weeks, but he also had some bad weeks as well. So I expect him to have some of these great weeks coming up. So if I had him on my team, I'm probably going to keep starting him, and I'm probably just going to wait till he has that first big week and try to sell high at that time. So definitely don't sell low. Don't trade him away. If you want to try to buy him, I honestly wouldn't. I think he's going to be too inconsistent. I would wait till he has a good week and then try to trade him away. We've got one more after Travis Hunter, but this is another one where my panic meter is a 6 out of 10. Trevor Lawrence hasn't looked the sharpest. This team hasn't looked the sharpest overall. You also have some pass-catching running backs with Bashul Tutin joining the flow last week, who was amazing. Travis Etienne has looked great so far as well. You go to the game log here. This is what I'm worried about, is the receptions, the targets, the receiving yards. None of that's looking good yet. Now, he will have some good games this season, but you look at the snap percentage, really quite terrible. And that had to do with him playing some defense in week 2, especially. So one thing that you need to watch out for there, you also have the route rate, not great as well. This is exactly what we talked about in the tree draft process, where if he's playing some defense, he may not have the biggest impact on offense. So this is a player that I am also holding. I'm not going to trade him away unless someone really wants to get him. The panic meter is high. You saw Parker Washington have a great week in week 2. We saw Brian Thomas Jr. have 12 targets. This is going to be an offense where different players have big weeks on different times. So I think Brian Thomas Jr. is the buy on this team. But Travis Hunter, if you can sell him, I would, or just wait till he has that first big week because it'll eventually happen. Then trade him away. It seems like it's going to be a revolving door on who's going to be the wide receiver of the week. So I'm not trusting this Jaguars offense outside of the running backs who I love and Brian Thomas Jr. Now on to our final player. Again, if you have not subscribed yet, make sure you do. We are going to blow up this channel with great YouTube content like this, talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. Now we got a quote, I think it was from today, where Kyler Murray said some weeks he'll get 10 targets, some weeks he'll get 3. And obviously that's not a great place to be around someone that you need to start in fantasy football. We'll head to the game log. We kind of saw that in week 1 versus week 2. Week 1, 6 targets, week 2, 5 targets. So I guess pretty similar on the targets. But you see here that the receptions, week 2, only 2. And the problem here, Marvin Harrison Jr. is amazing against man coverage. The problem is defenses don't have to play man coverage. So when teams can play zone against this Cardinals team, they're going to use the running backs. Trey Benson had 6 targets last week. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. only had, when he's not the top target behind Trey McBride, not even the second most targeted player, he will be tough to start for fantasy football. What we need to do is we need to win leagues through the playoffs. And while he does have some decent playoff matchups against Houston, Atlanta, and Cincinnati, I don't think we're going to be able to make it there by starting Marvin Harrison Jr. And you never know in which one of those games he's only going to get the 5 targets, the 2 receptions, and completely let you down. So for me, the panic meter is a 7 or 8 out of 10. I would sell high after his next big performance.